Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today to our Sunday Conversations. Today, we're going to talk about how to harmonize a couple for a healthy pregnancy. I'm here with François Amigues. François, thank you so much for being with us today.
Hi,
But
Susanna.
before we dive into the topic, I would like to let the audience know a little bit more about yourself. So tell us who you are, what you do, whatever you want to.
Okay, well, so I'm François Amigues, and I'm accessory an osteopath and mostly a prenatal educator. And at 16, I wish to change the world like a lot of teenager. And at 17, I found how pregnant women, because they are the most powerful person on the planet to really change the world from the roots. And it was my big awareness at that time. And I catch these ideas from a Bulgarian French philosopher, when I was invited in a lecture from an amazing lady, Marie-André Bertin. And at 17, it has really put my life upside down. And this awareness has changed my life and dedicate since to this cause. So I first studied the sound and the prenatal singing to feed my quest, and finally become an osteopath specialized in pregnancy and pediatrics. But building the concept of a prenatal education educator in more since my true quest and learning.
Wow, wonderful. So let's dive into our topic. Let us know how can couples prepare emotionally and relationally for conception to create this conscious and welcoming environment for the baby.
Mm, My discovery in this matter is that you have first to marry well your mind and your own heart to become happy enough to be able to build a loving and durable, healthy couples. And that is a big challenge.
Mm.
Most of the time we build our couples, by physical attraction. But I realize that if in yourself you don't install strongly your inner couple, which is the mind and the heart, and you don't align them, you always attract unaligned couples and have difficulties. And at any time of the life of your couple, you can do this inner work, and um, and that's change everything in a couple. Because first you need to have a strongness to welcome a healthy baby.
Mm.
So it's important to understand that the mind naturally aims for the good, and the heart desire what is right for you. So if the mind is not in its healthy way, which is aiming for good, it's like that. We all know what is good and wrong, and the mind like to aim that, and the heart is tend to serve that. So if you don't aim the good, the heart is be will be right with what you aim.
Mm.
So it's and so when both are very well aligned, your life, your behavior, and your action tend to create beauty, grace, and in any department of your life, including, of course, a baby. So when love as a state of man, as a state of mind, respect as an emotional qualities and tenderness in your behavior and action are installed deeply in you, your couple can only thrive and offer the most wonderfulness to welcome a baby.
Oh, that's so beautiful the way that you are exposing it in this way because it feels also that it should be within the consciousness of the couple to understand how how both of them can interact with each other. And if we talked about the emotional climate of the womb, and how does that influences the baby early development? Can you tell us a little bit about how does this quality of the couple relationship can influence what is happening in the womb?
Well, so that that's the problems of um, if you want, when you haven't installed this inner couple, it's very difficult to offer that to your own baby as a mother and as a father, because the father is pregnant of the mother. So finally, the pregnancy of the father is really to take care of his wife with these ideas. And if it's very
I loved what you just said. The father is pregnant of the mother. Wonderful. Loved it.
exactly, because he cannot be pregnant of the baby, obviously. But if in ancient tradition, that was a bit the, what people try to develop. And when I say ancient tradition, very ancient tradition, what we have certain, antique Egypt or any, in fact, tradition where you have see flourishing this golden age, people having baby more late like what we thought, and there was a whole learning teaching in ancient Greece. Joanna Mary, an amazing lady too, and taught us about that, how there was classes for parents, for men and women. And for the man, it was to be pregnant of the mother. And for that, if you're not aligning, you're not open your mind to what you know is good and for your heart what is right, how could you create this atmosphere that you want to cherish, you want to date your wife, you want to be with her and surrounded with beauty, grace, and like thing like that. So for the mother, finally, it's the same job, but everything is internal. And when you see how internal is a pregnancy, that's why this state of mind between mind and heart has to be so internal, to become this couple that who feed this baby. And yes, and we know now with lately I heard that how do we call that? Uh, the the big nomination for scientist, I forgot the name, but someone just been gratified for epigenese. Epigenese is the understanding of epigenetics in the womb, because we understand now that the baby is is the first activity of a baby is to read mom stresses, mom mind or happiness, and to answer to that. So it's the environment that shaped the baby. So the first environment, of course, is the mother, the second is the father, the third is the family, the society. So of course, to offer a healthy environment for the baby that predestine the baby to be more resilient, to be more happy, we have to offer this environment for this baby. And because the first things for the baby is, of course, surviving. So if the mother spread lots of stress, unmanaged stress on the baby is going to manage it for the mother. In our body, in our day, we know with the breakthrough in neuroscience that everybody, when we cannot manage the stress, our body manage it for us. 80% of disease come from that. It's a big breakthrough. But when you have a baby in the womb, the baby do the same, even better, because the baby wants mommy to be healthy, so they survive. So that is a big thing of unmanaged stress. And it's very important, the term unmanaged stress, because you have stress that you can absolutely manage, and it doesn't
Yeah,
affect you.
exactly. That's one of the things that sometimes we address in these interviews is that, stress, a certain amount of stress, it's actually healthy. It's part of life. It's not, it's the stress that you can't manage that we're talking about here. It's the
Exactly.
pressure that goes into the mother.
Challenge make you alive, make you happy to overcome your challenge. So it's a very healthy energy, in fact, the stress, when you can manage them. But certain stress you hits you in the dash and boom, you collapse, you lose your balance. So the body develops certain hormones to calm down your brain. And if you have a baby in the womb, the baby start to develop certain organs to produce these hormones at the cost of the health of the baby. And plus it set the baby in a despair, in a survival mode. So this baby will be oriented later on in life to survive, and so to fight, and not to be in the resilience and okay, there is no problem, we are going to fix it, there is always solution. For that you need a lot of endorphins. Endorphins are really the hormones of happiness, the one that give you this energy to seeking for challenge and to transmute them in resolution. So for that, we need to offer in the womb this energy. And that's why to have a mind oriented to, good things and right things in your heart will make that you offer to your baby an atmosphere
Yes, that brings us to my next question, which is what are, the some of conscious daily practice that couples can adopt to create a peaceful and nurturing environment during pregnancy for the womb, for the baby, for the mother.
Mm. So that's for that. That's so you mean the role of the father, huh? In
Yeah,
this
we
one?
talked a little bit already about
Yes.
the role of
Okay.
the father. If you want to address
So
that a
yes,
bit more and a little bit more in depth,
absolutely.
of course, let's do that.
So they say it is the point is to become pregnant of the mother, and that is is really give you a direction. We know the brain of man need direction. We are oriented person. We work with aims and so when that is very, it's a so simple code to put in your mind, and it oriented all your day. And so the technically, very concretely, is to maintain a loving ambience at home, a loving atmosphere. What Bruce Lipton called the honeymoon effect. You know, when you know honeymoon, you blind to the all the negativity of the person you love, and you just see you in fact you're clairvoyant of the
That
beauty
can
that's
can also
carry.
explain why some people experiencing the same situation, they are perceiving it in different ways. So one can perceive it with a lot of stress and pressure, and another one, as you were saying, that it's taking care of the environment. So then, although the situation is the same, but it's not perceiving as stressful as the other person is.
Absolutely, and that's why to be a team, and as men and women, we don't deal with stress the same way. So the fact to be a first row of shock absorbing the stress, poof, create a nest for your beloved, and in meantime, if you constantly maintain, you bring a sacred, positive, elevated state of mind at home. Whoa, even the other one to be have dark mind and all that. You see your partner and oh, darling, I can put my head on your shoulder and I feel better because I was anxious for the birth, for that, which is absolutely normal. But to cultivate that for the man all the time, to bring that and warming your partner by joy, attention, open dialogue. Dialogue is so important. As there are so many couples that have not this reflex of dialoguing, and that is very simple. You're just creating a special attention, magical atmosphere at home, like putting a fountains, flowers, something you cut on the street or whatever. But just this intention change. We are sensitive to different things, so we have to learn certain things that really make a difference for women, because everything which is inside in the house plays so much of women. It's really brain orientation that make that. And so there is few things to understand for men, like bringing nice music, soft music, everything which is colorful, supporting of course the daily task, and in two words, is to become like the Prometheus of the household. Like every day you have to bring the fire, the energy, the something bubbling from the higher realm to feed the imagination of the mother, because she's forming with his imagination, with his ambient things, the baby. And if she's in a kind of a wonderful world, a magical world for 9 months, whoa, she will give, beauty and sense of sacred to her baby. That is that is really a mission for a man. So if he knows his mission, he will do it, because guys are good soldiers. It's like
Yeah,
that.
and
Yeah,
I think it really affects the woman. I think one of the things couples should actually manage is communication. I think it actually
absolutely.
goes both ways. It would be wonderful if couples would have resources to know how to communicate with each other when challenges come. Because when good times are good times, it's fine. But when challenges come, how can
Hmm.
I communicate, or how can I give a
Oh,
step back,
absolutely.
reflect, and then move forward?
And for men, something which helps when there is problems is to take a walk. Because our brain again work with testosterone, action, motion, and so when there is things you stuck, you don't know how to manage with the mood of your partner, you see something go wrong, take her hands, do an outing. Outing resolve 60 to 80% of everything. And
Wow.
so just take the hands, go to have a walk, and you can just listen the silence of nature, and you can let the words comes. And because you focus to walk, it's more easy for men to listen when they walk because they are active. The difficulty sometimes for men, especially to welcome emotion that emerge them, and the brain of a man is less developed to deal with strong emotion. When there is a physical activity on the side, which is something that you don't have to think, like walking and watching the beauty of nature, it helps his brain to listen better, you know, and to endure certain emotion that sometimes are too strong for him because we don't have the same hormones. So it's a very strong step for guys, outing. And even another one, you go to, I don't know, to the grocery store. Instead to go alone, take your wife, do an outing, because for women, the connection, all the feminine hormones are linked to connection. So anytime you do a gesture to connect, even you think, oh, she would be bored. She never bored to have an outing with you when there is an intention behind. So there is few tips like that that I learned, be a double agent with women. And that as men, we not necessarily things because our brain is so focused on just one task that we forgot to include people we love in our task. And that is another physical things you can do.
And
Oh,
let's talk a little bit about prenatal education, right? So why is this so important that both partners are involved in prenatal education, and how does this information and learning can promote harmony in the relationship?
well, so first, it's important to cultivate the inner happiness, and the prenatal education help for that. You know, it's educate you about the importance of endorphins beside catecholamines, the hormone of stress, and it give you to aim the great, to cultivate the high ideal, to nurture, you know, right emotion, to support all that. And that is very important to that is very important to have an education for that. And it's oriented the couple toward the same goal, you know, and it helps you overpass the simple personal wishes because it gives you a higher stake, which is the happiness of the baby. And so the to have it give you ideas like massaging your wife, lecturing, giving I don't know, poetry or very beautiful books because you read somewhere what certain researcher have understand. And so prenatal education help amazingly men and women, you know,
Yes,
75.
especially to understand, as you are saying, what are the impacts that life in the womb has, not only on the physical body of the baby, but also on the emotional part, and also the
Exactly.
spiritual part, the social part of that baby, of
And
that human being that is being built.
And even if epigenetic have been discovered 50 years ago, it's absolutely unknown. Even the professional haven't integrated that in their practice. So it's important to have prenatal educator to give the good words and to give the information how determinant is it orienting the health of the baby. And for that, you know, for instance, we have the 10 golden rules for pregnancy written by O.M.A.E.P, this extraordinary person that's, and it's an amazing guide to inspire the parents to live an extraordinary life. Even we are ordinary people, we can live an extraordinary life. And especially during the pregnancy, we want to offer this extraordinary life at the most important moment of the whole life of an individual, the pregnancy, because it's able to enhance children oriented towards thriving, resilience, harmony instead of surviving. Wow, what a stake, you know.
Let me
And
just say this to our audience. Francois is talking about the 10 Golden Rules, which is a book that is a free resource at Prenatal Alliance website. And we also have other books like As Pregnancy Matters, and also books on prenatal memories that are also free resources on our website. So for our audience, whoever is listening, just go there and grab these essential resources.
hmm,
Now,
that's
let me
a
just ask you, because you were talking about, how important it is for women to have this connection and how they are wired to have this connection. Um, how can couples navigate emotional triggers? This is something that it's very important because we all have emotional triggers for our own childhoods. And again, it doesn't mean that it's going to be, you know, such a big drama. Doesn't need to be such a big drama. But how can we avoid to project unresolved issues on the pregnancy journey that is happening in this couple?
Yes. As we said, when you understand the epigenetic, we know we have our limit have been defined by obligation toward our mother in the womb, you know, to help her in the womb. So for sure, we all have certain survival reflex that make us overreact in certain situation. And it's above our mind, above our heart. It's like in our DNA, something happened. Wow, we get out of like a tiger and we aggress for a certain time, little things, we overreact as we have been obliged to overreact in the womb of mom to help her for certain things. So it's important for us to assess this reflex, you know, to assess our temper. The temper doesn't define us, you know, it's a survival mode. And our character is the one that can hold this horse. You know, the temper is really the inheritance on our biology. But the character is what makes you controlling things. And sometimes you can even use this hyperreactivity like a power to do things for you. So it's not necessarily negative, but first you have to define it, to accept it, and then you can overpassing. When you don't witness something, you cannot control it. But so welcoming our limitation is the root of an even efficiency nonviolent communication. But so when you can, because you know there is a big tool that I really invite everybody to learn is about nonviolent communication. There is 4 stages, very simple to learn, but the first one is to assess the reality. So to assess certain reaction and not thinking it is us is the key. After that, it's simple to dialogue that, to transform it, and to make good even with certain negativity. That will be a bit the thing that I will invite the nonviolent communication for me a major key for that. And the other one is more you cultivate the perception of what is sublime in you. That's what develop the character in you and in your beloved, like you do during the honeymoon. Again, second things, nonviolent communication first, second, develop the honeymoon effect. All your life long you can do that, but especially for the pregnancy. Because more you do that, more you increase the love in your couples, more you force the, how I like to say, the blindness to the limitation and default of the other in favor of everyday more admiration of the source of life that flow in you and in the person you love. So that's develop the character. And when you do that, you no longer try to fix all your problems because you cultivate so much this inner vision that for the, you know, that will give the highest happiness of for your children in the womb and so for all along the life. That's a work to do.
Thank you so much, Francois. I think we have covered so much on this conversation, and I hope our audience has enjoyed it as much as we did. And we see each other next time with
Okay.
another topic, I hope.
Of
And
course,
I
thank
wish
you so
you
much,
well. Thank you
Ivana.
so much for being with us.
Bye bye.